It is quite anthropocentric, this idea that landscape is landscape because we as humans are viewing it, we're conceptualizing it. And so I wanted to go beyond that and think about the natural environment, damaged as it may be, though it may be, as a vibrant entity. I really use this material and this question of the environmental humanities in an Italian context as a way to look at broader questions of regional identity, sense of place, sense of identity, and this question of nationalism. In Italian studies, we often talk a lot about the idea of Italianness. What does it mean to be Italian? And in an Italian context, that can often be related to place. I was doing final edits on the book, and so I did spend a lot of time walking there and taking pictures. I think of a few photos where I was out on trails in the foothills and then would see a crumbling stone home. So a structure that was still half built, but also dissolving back into the landscape. Or another image of walking along in a flatter area, again in a field setting where there was a pile of refuse, right? So someone's personal trash heap had found its way there. Also in that region, I think of a photo of cows grazing and then new utility poles that have been made to look like trees, right? So we see these electric wires coming by and this image of what is supposed to resemble nature and yet is in fact so invasive to that environment. The first filmmaker that I look at in the text is Pier Paolo Pasolini, so I'll focus on Mama Roma. The protagonist is a young man named Ettore, and there are certain slow scenes without any language in which we see Ettore in the Roman periphery in his sort of working class suburb in fields with Etruscan ruins in the grass, and the city of Rome is behind. But you see that he's really immersed in this more natural setting, and they're so emblematic of this young man who's sort of caught between this urban existence and then something somehow more peaceful in nature. And then moving forward, I also look at the Sicilian directors Cipri and Maresco, and their works are very interesting. They really mark the point, I think, of almost total merger. I don't even know where to start with A Memoria. One beautiful image from towards the end of that film shows many of the protagonists, who are unnamed and largely nonverbal, standing against a soft hillside, kind of swaying like trees in the breeze. And I think that is very emblematic of their work and of this desire, again, to connect with something in the natural environment despite the damage that we've caused to it. In America, we spoke earlier, I think, about Edward Abbey. There's been this tradition of nature writing and this notion of the wild and the West and truly being out in raw nature. And that's something that we can't really find in the Italian context because Italy has been inhabited for so long. Italy has been traversed for so long. The lands have been cultivated for so long. And then at the same time, in the 20th century, during this period of economic boom after World War II, we did see such a rapid change in culture and landscape due to the industrial shift. So looking at texts focused on particular Italian environments, it's a really great way to open up these larger questions of identity and place.